You're listening to the AmWritingFantasy podcast. In today's publishing landscape, you can reach fans all over the world. Query letters are a thing of the past. You don't even need a literary agent. There is nothing standing in the way of making a living from writing. Join two best-selling authors who have self-published more than 20 books between them. Now, on to the show with your hosts, Autumn Burt and Jesper Schmidt.
Hello, I'm Jesper.
And I'm Autumn.
This is episode 106 of the AmWritingFantasy podcast, and welcome to 2021!
Woo! I wish we were actually in 2021 when we're recording this, but that's okay. We're getting close. We're getting very, very close.
We're once again cheating with the time traveling we can do with podcasting.
We are. So if our future versions could come back, even if it's in dreams, and just let me know how, the New Year's and everything's shaping up, that'd be really cool.
Yeah, and maybe our future selves could tell us a bit about if 2021 already looks better than 2020 or not.
I don't want to know. I just want to assume it's going to be better. And if it's not, just don't tell me. I can't handle another bad year.
No. So today we are starting out this 2021 year with a bit of a lighthearted and fun topic, because we're going to do an alternating list of 5 book ideas I won't write. So this should be fun, Autumn.
I'm looking forward to it. Like I said, I have some comments on it later when we get there, but it was interesting because I really did pull out my file, my little folder, and dusted it off of ideas of things I'd picked at. And I have to say, I was like, oh, I like that one. Oh, I like that one. Oh, I forgot about that. So that's just horrible. I actually had a hard time finding 5 I wanted to let go of. So this will be really interesting.
Yeah, and I went a bit of a different direction with my 5 list. So I just tried to find some of the most crazy shit you can think of and say, this is definitely never going to be a story.
I can't wait to hear what they are. They're going to inspire someone somewhere, which is going to be really awesome. And if it does, you have to let us know in the comments if something we give you today does inspire something. Just let us know, because that'd be so much fun.
Absolutely, yeah. But how are things over at your place then?
Oh, it's pretty good. Right now it's December. It's a little snowy. Vermont is so pretty right now, and I'm still thrilled because I finished that massive website rebuild, and I feel like, life is maybe evening out. Though I did realize, because I'm writing this series that I'm hoping to release the first book as soon as early or late February in 2021, which is 2 months away from when this is released, very soon. And I realized I had a missing piece I wanted to add. I woke up one morning going, that's what I was missing. I have to add that, and did this, and another extra chapter kind of developed. And I'm looking at it going, this is kind of big, and this is the last book, and I want to finish it by December 31st. So if my future self could come back and let me know if I managed to do that, please do so, because I looked at it today and I'm like, I've got to write a chapter a day again, or I'm not going to finish this. And maybe I should just go and edit what's actually book 2, and I don't know what to do. But I really want to finish writing this, and it's definitely, I'm getting close to the climax. That final tension that's building towards a climax, and I'm loving the storyline. I'm loving the characters, so I don't want to stop.
No, well, just finish it then.
Just finish it. And so if I have to not, publish book 2 February 28th, I guess I can do that, but I really, 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 really want to. So I don't know. It's a lot going on in my head. But you...
Oh, but at least if you finish it, then you can sort of tick that one off the list. At least, then that's done.
That's done, and
maybe
you can edit.
Maybe you can edit a bit faster or something.
Yeah, I will keep my fingers crossed, because I think that's the best plan, and definitely why I've got the momentum going. I want to keep writing. So even if it's not quite a chapter a day, but with the holidays coming up and COVID lockdown, I'm not going anywhere. Maybe my vacation will be writing 2 chapters. I did that over the weekend. I wrote 5,000 words on Saturday. I was just like, I want to write today. And I just wrote a small storm. So if I have to do that over vacation, maybe that's what'll be my holiday. Spend some time with my husband, go for a walk, write 5,000 words. And that'll be my Christmas.
Yeah. Why not?
Why not? So things are still exciting on your end. I mean, you've moved and you're with boxes. How is everything over there?
Yeah, still pretty chaotic, to be honest. And it probably will be for a couple of weeks. But I'm going tomorrow to the house to hand over the keys to the new owners. So they're probably very excited about that. I think this past weekend we took a trip. I was about to say it's not that far. It's like 15 kilometers, right?
Right.
But we went back to the house this weekend from the apartment where we live in now with the kids just to say goodbye to the house.
Oh.
And the oldest son, he went around saying goodbye to everything from toilets to cupboards to everything. Got a goodbye, and my wife, she did find it a bit sad. And my youngest, he was just like he couldn't care less. He was just walking around like he didn't care.
Oh.
His main concern was the garden, where he was like, "Oh, I played football here. This is where I learned my tricks and stuff like that." But that was pretty much his only concern. So yeah, so that's gonna be the ending of that chapter tomorrow,
Yeah.
officially. But otherwise, I've just been putting furniture together, and the kids' room is starting to look a bit better now.
Oh, excellent.
But the rest of the apartment is still a complete mess.
Oh, put some holiday decorations on the boxes and stack them in tree shapes and just go with it.
Yeah, maybe I have to do that. We'll see.
A week on the internet with the AmWritingFantasy podcast.
I'm quite pleased with the reception of the world building course, Autumn.
I am too. This was, especially we're launching it in 2020, which we already know is the doomed year of the planet. I enjoyed talking with our special guest, who's the interview that when this is released, it'll have been the last episode with Brian Cohen. And when I was talking to him, he called it a generational year. It's like, this is the one we will talk about for our kids. So many people will talk about this year for so long. And I'm like, wow, that is so impactful. I hadn't thought of it that way. So yes, we released a course in 2020, and I'm thrilled with how many people are interested in picking it up at the VIP launch. It's a good feeling.
Yeah, because essentially we only did a very limited launch, meaning that we only announced it to the podcast listeners as well as to our email list, but that was it.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty happy to see that there's been quite some interest and a lot of new students joining as well, which I think is very, very good, because imagine having spent 2 years building this course and then nobody was interested. That would be so horrible.
That would have been the capstone to 2020, but it just didn't go that way. So I'm not complaining. Especially since the week before we launched the course, I realized that now is the time, if there ever was a time to rebuild the website, and spending a week doing that right before we launched a not one course, but 2 courses, because we also launched the Self-Publishing Success free course at the same time. And yeah, that was it was so much work for you and I over 2 years planning this and doing the videos and then building it and then rebuilding the website all of a sudden. So yay, thank you everyone who picked it up and said that they were interested, or even if they said they were interested and it's not the right time. Just feedback. Feedback is just what keeps us going. It's the breadcrumbs that feed us when in these years of trying times.
Yeah, it's very nice to get the occasional emails from people who find that something we said or wrote or whatever really helped them. So that's wonderful. And we're also starting to see a few signups for that free course already. So that I'm pleased about that. I can't remember if it was episode 102 or maybe it was 101. I don't know. You can go back and check that if you missed it. But we did explain in a quite recent episode what this free course entails. But I don't know. Maybe just as a service, I'll add the link to the free course once again in the show notes to this episode. So if you missed it, you can go and check it out. But yeah.
It is definitely, I guess, the courses, it feels so good to be really close to completing, like we did in our 21st, on the 21st, the podcast we released, and we looked at our goals for 2020 and how we did and what we're planning on doing in 2021, and it felt good to not only say we're really close to hitting all of our goals in 2020, but we actually did a couple of other things that we didn't anticipate at the time. So it might have been a trying and difficult year, but I think we're coming through it doing pretty good.
Yeah, I don't think it's too bad. I mean, well, it depends on how you look at it, right? I mean, from the sort of world health perspective and stuff like that, it's a terrible year.
Yeah.
But I think from the business side of what we're doing ourselves, I think it has been pretty good in the sense that we've gotten a lot of that. Well, what you and I in our internal meetings call platform building. We've gotten a lot of that sorted this year, so hopefully heading into next year we can focus on writing. So that's going to be
Yay!
exciting.
I'm so excited.
And on to today's topic.
So I think, first of all, as we get into this, we also have to be honest and say that there are no bad story ideas.
That's true.
Because it is all about execution. Quite recent, I wrote an email to the email list where I said that imagine Frank Herbert, so the author of the classic Dune. But imagine him explaining his story. So he will say something like, "My story takes place on an alien planet where there are these giant sandworms, and then I've included this awesome drug that allows you to see into the future. And then the hero will unlock genetic memories and acquire all the knowledge of his ancestors." I mean, that sounds pretty stupid, right?
It sounds like, well, are you marketing to sci-fi or new age? Or who are you trying to target with this one? So yeah, it's you have to have faith in your own story idea. And just like, and as you're saying, there's no bad story ideas, and there's also no really stealing story ideas. There's a couple here that I'm, like I mentioned at the top of the show, I'm kind of still fond of, but as we've discovered when you and I were debating what we were going to write and the series that we're going to be writing together this year, is that one of the ideas I actually was using in another story idea, and they've come out so different. I don't think you would ever realize that they sprouted from the same seed. They're completely different. So I'm not that worried about giving away these ideas and someone being like writing the exact story that was in my heart and soul, because you just can't do it. One, I'm already a little screwed up, but you know, how I look at it, the characters I create, the worlds I create, is going to change any of these stories into something else. So if something here sparks something in you, write it, take it, run with it. That's what 2021 is all about. Follow your dreams. We just put a whole heck of a year behind us. So start off with something you're passionate about if this is what works for you.
Oh yeah, I agree. I mean, just think about Tolkien as well, right?
Yes.
My story is about this little creature called a hobbit. It carries a ring that has the power to rule the world. That also sounds incredibly stupid, but at the end of the day, there was an epic tale that came out of that, right? So,
It was.
and as you say, if I sit down and write that story based on that, and you do the same, or somebody else, I mean, it's going to be different stories, all of them. So,
Absolutely. Have I ever told you, speaking of The Hobbit, that one of my favorite stories about that is, I know I think a father who read the story to his kids, and he always changed Bilbo to a woman, a female character, because he said it made more sense. She was after this ring, and I just died laughing. So there you go. Even while you're reading a classic, I wonder if when his kids will realize Bilbo's not a girl. But hey,
was he called Bilbino?
no, I think he kept Bilbo. Hey, you know, some names are genderless.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah. No, but for sure. I mean, it is all about execution. So I'm gonna make fun of some ideas here in my list of 5, but please don't take it as trying to offend anybody. If you have a similar story, or what do I know, or you have thought about it, then you can certainly execute all my stuff as well in a manner of that it'll probably, well, not maybe all of them is that good, but they can probably be executed in one way or another anyway. But yeah.
And
I
hey,
think we just needed to get that out of the way first.
yes, exactly. We are not trying to offend anyone's story ideas. We're trying to make you laugh, and that's what I was going to say. Maybe there's some ideas here will make you chuckle. Maybe they'll free up something in your head, and you'll be like, you'll be more willing to experiment with your own ideas. Or maybe it'll be something that just resonates and was the missing piece to a story you want to write. So it's, we're starting off a new year. Let's have some fun and inspire each other and see where it goes.
Yeah. So, do you want to start with your number 5 or 1, depending on which order it doesn't matter. Mine are in no particular order, so it's just ideas. So,
all right, well, flip a coin. Do you want me to start with one that's very well developed or one that's pretty much a loose cannon?
a loose cannon first.
All right, so I'm going to start at the back of my list. I'm going to start at number 5 and go to number 1, which is definitely the most developed. All right.
Okay.
So here we go. So this is an idea that I really like, but this one I haven't developed much at all. So this is one where you have a heroine who is ultimately supremely good, like holier than holy good. And she is up against an evil that is the ultimate evil, and no matter how much it's tried to end or kill this evil, it can't be. Until it's realized that the heroine's wonderful goodness is the perfect prison for the ultimate evil. So she becomes his living jail. And so I like this topic. I mean, I don't have a world-setting characters, but I like this one because it explores the idea of what if you are good, but you are suddenly harboring evil inside of you? I mean, how does that affect who you are, how you act, how your friends or your loved ones perceive you? And even more than that, what happens if the evil corrupts you? If you're no longer perfectly good, can that great evil you're the prison for escape? But if you've been tainted by evil, hasn't the evil been also tainted by good? So, not to mention, you've had this guy in your head for like who knows how long. Will you secretly be friends? Will you maybe be more than friends when it's another free entity again? So I just think there's so many cool questions with this one that I've played around with it in my head for ages, but it's not gotten any further than those are some really fun and cool questions.
Yeah, I was curious. So, is that why you put it on the list of things you would not write because you can't figure out what to do with it, or because at the bottom of it, it sounds like a pretty good idea, to be honest.
Hey, believe it or not, it's one I shared when we were debating what to write together. But I don't know where to go with it. And so someone else maybe they'll go somewhere with it. Maybe, if I live forever, I will get to it eventually. But I mean, I have probably 4 or 5. We have what we're writing together. I have a series I'm writing. I have a series I'm going to write after that. I might write one more series in my elemental fantasy world. So I wouldn't get to this one for probably 3 or 4 years. Maybe by then I'll have figured it out. So I'm putting it out there. So if someone else is inspired, let me know. I think it's a fun idea, and I think there's a lot of people who struggle with that idea of feeling good but having evil inside of you, or vice versa. And how does that change who you are if people knew the secrets you kept inside? I think it's a great story idea, and if someone wants to write it, this is a good setup to try.
Yeah. I don't think it's that bad either.
I'll keep that in mind if something comes to my mind.
Yeah. Okay, well, I can start my list out very simple before I start going crazy with the other ones.
That sounds good.
Yeah, this first one is just very simple and straightforward, I guess, but this is like the most cliche-filled story idea I could think of, and this is why it's on the list of things I will not write.
All right.
So this is the heir to a throne discovers that he is the heir, but his evil uncle wants to prevent him from getting into power and therefore tries to get rid of him.
Oh,
right?
Right.
That's it. Very simple, straightforward. This being an heir to a throne stuff, I freaking hate it. It's just, it is always there, and I really don't like it. I don't want to do anything to do with heirs.
Yes, I was gonna say I have 2 of those coming up, so it's kind of it's something that maybe I think if we wrote it together, we'd have to try to find some other aspect of it. But it's it's there because it's something that is just, it's a trope that people understand instantly.
Yeah, I know.
So there's
I
nothing
know.
wrong with
It's
it.
just no, and it might also be that it's just me who is allergic to it, but I don't know. But I just feel like I've seen it too many times that it's well, like we said before, it's a trope because people like it, and that's why it's repeated. But I think this particular one, at least in my mind, and this is only my opinion, of course, but in my mind, it is overused. That's why I don't want to do anything with heirs. But,
I think
yeah.
it's true, though. I mean, I think it's one reason Game of Thrones was kind of fun, because there were heirs, but often the heirs didn't end up on the throne. Actually, most of them ended up dead, but
Yeah.
well, the women ended up claiming heirship and saying, screw you all, this is where I deserve to sit. And so it was a lot more chaotic and fun, and you also could see that there would have been a lot less fighting in the world, maybe if it was more clear who got to be the next ruler and people stopped trying to kill them off.
Yeah, but also Game of Thrones it's about the politics. It is not about the heir realizing, oh, I'm the heir, and I mean that's a very different story, right? So it's not that you can't have heirs, in my view. I mean, in Game of Thrones, it did not annoy me because that was not what the story was about. It was about the factions fighting each other and stuff like that. It was a war story.
Yes.
Whereas if the story is centered around, oh, I'm the heir, and now I want to take my seat at the power, and then somebody tries to stop me or whatever. I mean, I'm already falling asleep, so you better move on before I nod off here.
Fair enough. That'll be interesting to see what you think of the two that heirs pop up on my ideas.
Right, yes.
All right. So you ready for my number 4?
Okay.
All right. So this is one that I actually might use if I continue writing in my world of Sundark, which is where my next series that I'll be writing, Black Throne, Black Blood, is set. So this is one about a heroine. You'll notice I have a lot of heroines. I just write that kind of story, but from an earlier time in the world that this is set. So she gets on the wrong side of a more powerful demigod and is accused of betraying him. So her punishment, one of her punishments, is to be sent through time to the far future, which lands her in a world where a lot has changed. She is now the only demigod from the dawn time of her world. And all of her friends are now myths, and magic is diluted. So she needs to adapt while missing all the things that she once had and feeling unjustly accused of something that she probably, I never figured that out, didn't do. And she's still constrained by some of the other punishments, which one of them is that she could no longer give her name or access her home. So all of these things that were how she identified herself were stripped from her. So it kind of goes into the question of, how do you seek justice when the one who punished you is long gone? Or how do you reclaim a part of who you are that's been taken from you by someone that you can't ask for it to be returned from?
Yeah.
You'll see, I like these philosophical questions. I think they're somehow buried.
No, I like that too.
They're buried in the heart of your stories.
Yeah, I mean, I like the kind of stories that also makes you think a bit about something, that, you know, it has something that it says other than just somebody fighting somebody else and then woohoo, they won, right? I mean, I especially like as you know already, but I like endings where it's a bit gray area, you know, sort of like maybe the hero wins, but then again, there is some stuff that like, this is not so good. I like those kind of endings where it's a bit like, it depends on almost how you see it.
Yes.
I like those kind of stories.
Yes. I mean, I definitely tend to noble bright, but I also like those tweaks where it's not perfect. It's not what you expect. There's a little bit of bitterness with the good, because I hate to say it, in life, I think if you didn't know a little bit of sadness, you would never appreciate the wonderfulness. You gotta have that balance to understand how when things are good, that they're really good, because you know it's not gonna be good at some point because of some reason.
No, I agree. I think in terms of story ideas that you would never write, you need to up your game a bit here. Autumn. You're coming up with good ideas. That was not the point.
Oh, to me, I don't know if I'll ever get to this one because I like the idea, but again, I can only write so this one would again be 3, 4, 5 years out there. So I don't mind sharing some good ones. Maybe I misunderstood the concept, but I opened up, like I said, I dove into my dusty file of topics that I've filed away, and I pulled out ones that I just don't know if I'll get to, but I don't mind sharing.
Oh, that's fair. Okay.
All right. I want to hear the fun one.
All right. So we like to have nations at war in our stories, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So how about this one? This is so stupid. So a story about a war, but told from the perspective of a mule, which has to pull the cart with all the war gear in it.
I love it. I can already feel the characterization in my head. That mule is gonna kick people a lot. And
just a really angry mule.
Yes,
you have to listen to angry mule's thoughts for 300 pages.
It would be a challenge. It would be at least a good short story, but that'd be really fun. And it's a good idea to just write a story from a very uncommon perspective that you wouldn't expect. I think it's adorable.
Maybe it could be a children's book, actually.
Yeah.
I'm certainly not going to write it, but maybe that could actually work.
I think so. I think there would definitely be something in it that would be adorable, and you could easily have some kind of redemption for the mule at the end if it was a children's book where he's not quite a sourpuss or gets a happy ending on a nice field somewhere.
Yeah, maybe it does some grandiose deed that even the war horses couldn't manage or something.
That would be, I like that.
Yeah, see, that's a children's book. It's already there.
It's there. See, this is a good story idea.
I'm not gonna write it, but yeah, somebody can see it. Okay.
I can see it now. So yeah, definitely, if anyone's gonna pick this one up, you have to let us know in the comments. I want to go read it. It sounds so sweet. All right, you ready for my number 3? This is another big one.
Okay, yeah.
All right, so this is one of my early attempts to write fae stories, and I actually wrote a short story called Ellswood, which is it's a free short story that you can go check out on my website if you wanted to, but maybe it'll seed some ideas for you. But I think there's definitely something more that can be developed out of this one, but I doubt I'll ever get back to this one because bits might be pulled into the current story, the fae stories I'm writing now in the Tainted Fae, but I'm done with this one. So this one's free. Go for it. This is about a young girl whose grandmother discovers the garden around her cottage in Maine is actually a haven for pixies and fairies. And the stream on the property actually marks a boundary between our world and the fae. And, that's all well and good until her granddaughter discovers this as well and meets the son of the Fae Queen. So, afraid that her granddaughter will be stolen away to the world of the Fae, she manages to win a bargain from the Queen that her son will never appear to her granddaughter as a young man, as long as she lives. So, these two they still manage to be best of friends because he takes the form of a wren. And you know how Fae promises go, especially considering human years aren't really that long. So when she inherits the property, yeah, go have fun with that. The son of the Fae Queen and the granddaughter of this old lady who has been secretly harboring fairies in her yard.
And well, this is, I don't know why, but my mind always turns to the dark side. But as soon as you said, as long as she's alive, then okay. Then I started thinking about, then how can we kill her?
So
I don't know. I'm always cruel.
Well, the Fae are known to be a little cruel, and I never said if she was light Fae or dark Fae. So this could totally go that way. Either evil Fae Queen, but yeah, I think. See, it's already inspired you. I feel very satisfied for sending that one off into the world.
Yeah, actually, I didn't expect that. I didn't expect to get inspired from these kind of things, but it has happened 2 or 3 times now already. So okay, that's good.
Good.
Okay, do you want another number 3?
Yes, let's go for yours.
One probably goes a bit crazy.
Oh, I can't wait to see yours
So,
go more off the rails.
so this is a story about an insane hypnotist. Okay,
Ooh.
so stay with me. So this hypnotist is hell-bent on mentally crushing the girl he loves. Not quite sure why. And then somewhere in here in the story, there's a gigantic kite that is raised to rid the land of an unnatural infestation of birds. How does that sound?
Hypnotist, a kite. Maybe he's hypnotizing the birds. It sounds very interesting. This sounds like an improv comedy skit, which Brian Cohen and I got into talking about improv a little bit. So this is definitely something that someone would throw up to you when you're doing improv, and you would have to come up with something in 5 minutes. So I think there's possibilities here.
Yeah, and you know what? I actually have a secret.
Oh, really? What?
Yeah, because this was a bit of a trick. It is actually a real story.
You're kidding.
No, I'm not. It is, and it's written by the author who more or less created the vampire genre. So maybe you know who that is.
That'd be Bram Stoker?
Yes, it is.
Really?
Yes, isn't that insane? The story is called "The Lair of the White Worm," and it is about an insane hypnotist, and there is a gigantic kite to rid the land of bird infestations. It sounds completely crazy.
It sounds complete. I have to go look this up when we're done now. And I had a little mouse tell me I might be getting a Kindle for the holidays for Yule, so I will have to go see if I can find it and put it on my possibly future Kindle. Even though I'm getting a shake going, no, you're not. That's not what I said.
I think you need to go in there with your very, very low expectations, because this story is just, it has been slaughtered, and it's on list of the worst stories ever and stuff like that. So I think it's very bad.
Oh my goodness. Well, that makes me, if I feel good if someone like Bram Stoker can write a flop. So that makes so much.
I mean, it should give the rest of us a bit of hope, right? Even if we write some shitty stories as well, then even the best of them can do that as well. So that's good.
Definitely. All right. So yes, I think we all need to loosen up occasionally, even if it's flash fiction. Write something totally out there, because it makes you remember writing can be fun and giggly, and it doesn't always have to make logical sense. So it could be 800 words. It doesn't have to be very long, but go write the Jabberwocky, which is one of my favorite poems, by the way. So I used to actually have like half of it memorized. So go write your own version of the Jabberwocky and just have fun with words for a little while. All right. So we're moving into this is one that I have actually plotted out kind of level of story. But this is one that we mentioned the air. So this is, well, you'll have to see how you feel about this one. You ready?
Yeah.
So this is more of a traditional medieval fantasy tale that's almost Arthurian. And like I said, I picked away, and there's actually 2 short stories I've written called A Bargain's Price and All Is Lantern Light that are, again, on my website for free. If you would like to get inspired, feel free. But in this one, a noble has risen up and claimed the throne away from the legitimate royal family. The youngest child, though, was allowed to live and grow as long as he swore fealty to the new king, which, added legitimacy to his claim of his new throne. But the story really begins when the young prince and his lover, who is his best friend and another noble household son, they begin to plot to reclaim the throne that has been stolen. And so I've got lots of notes in this one from the noble's son's orchestrated death, where the prince actually stabs him to make it look real. And this frees the noble from watchful eyes so that he can go and learn to forge a kingmaker's sword to give the prince, and of course all the problems of loving another man while being the heir to the throne, and you're expected to become the king and marry a woman and produce heirs. So, there's a little bit of a love entanglement that I thought would be kind of a fresh take on the story, and I love the idea. It's sort of Excalibur with the kingmaker's sword, so it's kind of that kind of story.
Yeah, that could work.
Good. Like I said, I was intrigued enough that I wrote 2 short stories on it, but I haven't gone any further. It didn't have enough magic, I think, for me. Maybe someone else can take it and add more magic, but I like the characters, and that's what kept drawing me back to it, is I kind of really loved the main characters, and I really actually liked the noble's son, and he was really kind of pissed at his lover, the prince, for stabbing him quite so hard. So
Right.
I had that whole I could hear them having the argument later once he healed, which took several months, by the way.
Right. Yeah. No. I can see that. That's not too bad.
Alright. So, you forgive that it's an air story, thank you.
Yeah, maybe we tweak it a bit, but otherwise, yeah.
Okay. Alright, fair enough. So what's your crazy one?
Okay, number 4.
Yes.
So imagine a world in which resources are very scarce. So people will naturally want to protect what they have, right?
Right.
So far so good. That sounds pretty normal up until this point. Then I think people are getting guard dogs to help them, guard.
Yeah.
However, they probably go overboard in training the dogs so that they become very vicious attack dogs, all of them.
Ooh.
So now you have a city where it's basically dangerous to go outside because there's just vicious dogs everywhere. I don't know if there's really enough meat on that bone to, pun intended.
Very funny metaphor there. Dogs and bone.
I don't know if there's enough to go anywhere with that, to be honest, but
Again, I think it could definitely go somewhere. I mean, dog stories, I liked dog stories. There was a very good futuristic one where dogs were intelligent enough that they were nannies, but they were like, they were looking for rights of basically as citizens because their intelligence had been upped that much. So I think there's always room for the people who, like me, love dogs, as you might have heard him bark, and I touched him, sorry, while we were podcasting, and so my dog had to bark at me. He was so indignant that I touched his royal hide.
right, yeah.
At the wrong time. So I like that. So this could be.
I have a kick as well to it.
Really?
Yeah.
Why is that?
What if I tell you that I was on boardpanda.com earlier today? I don't know why, but I was on there earlier today, and that was where I got this idea from. Because it is actually so that in Fort Thomas, Kentucky, there is a state law that states the following: dogs are prohibited from chasing people or other animals. How is that supposed to work? I just don't get it.
Well, do you give the dog a ticket if it chases somebody?
I don't know. How are you supposed to make sure that the dogs aren't chasing another animal? I don't understand.
I don't think I could understand that one. Well, yeah, that would, I was going to say, I've got a small little thing, and he still goes after squirrels like there's no tomorrow. So good luck training a dog not to chase anything. But
I don't understand. I mean, the article on boardpanda.com is 5 years old, so I don't know if it's still the law there. But if we have any listeners from Kentucky, can you please let us know, one, why in the world was this law put in place in the first place? And also, how are you supposed to enforce it? I don't understand.
Not having a dog, I guess, because that's about the only way to keep it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Goodness, I can't imagine.
Okay.
All right. You ready for my final one?
Yeah.
All right. So this one I like, but it's more of a space opera, so even though I really like the story and the characters, if I wanted to write a space opera, this is not a genre that I'm quite ready to branch into, and I'd have to read a whole bunch of books, and I don't know if I'm going to take the time. I like fantasy. Space operas, I'd have to find a way of putting in galactic dragons or something to make it worth my time. So this is my second air one, and you'll have to see what you think of this one, because it's one where I like to turn the tables on what is the common trope. So the heir of the Galactic Empire is a young woman, but her father would rather see her younger brother on the throne. But he can't just name his son without breaking hundreds of years of traditions. So officially, no heir has been declared, even though it's assumed it will be his daughter. So this, of course, leads to a lot of political maneuverings, as well as hurt family feelings, just what you want when you're the Galactic Empire. So until the daughter and presumed heir says to hell with it and leaves. She sneaks off, goes to a tiny, far-flung world where she's just not known, and they don't really care who the emperor is at all. And of course, she discovers life without a family name is not as easy as she expected, but she earns a place eventually through probably an entire trilogy, and skills, and even manages to fall in love, of course. But even that idol can only last so long before the problems of an empire come calling. So this one I do have, again, a short story written called The Lost Heir on my website. But I loved Margaret Weiss and Tracy Hickman did write a whole series that was a galactic space opera, and I loved it. It was one of my favorite stories for a very long time, and I think that's where the heart of this one comes from, is like, I want to do that too, but space opera, starships and worlds, I don't know.
Yeah, the jury is still out on this one.
I understand, but at least the one world where it's set was going to be more traditional fantasy, medieval, and I look at the overall story going, I wonder if I can just get rid of the whole spaceship thing. So we'll have to see. It might pop up someday, but it's so backburnered. I'd rather write number 5 first, and I don't even have characters or a world for that one.
No, okay. Yeah, I see. Okay, I have a number 5 for you as well.
I want to hear this one. This will be fun.
Yeah, I might have been running out of steam here towards the end, so I went to plotgenerator.org.uk, and it came up with the most terrible story idea, so I thought I'd put that one in as well.
Excellent, I can't wait to hear it.
So yeah, so it just generates a random plot, and this is what it says. So when a plumber from Madrid decides to start eating people, not everybody is supportive. I don't understand that part either. Why would anybody be supportive? I don't know. But then it goes on to say, however, his fortunes improve when his golf caddy opens a zoo. The plumber remembers that he actually killed his golf caddy 10 years previously. It's like, what? It's just a complete mess. There's no point at all.
Yeah. Well, one, thank you for telling me there's a plotgenerator.org, which I did not know, and now whenever I am bored is going to totally be the website I go and hang out on. But what?
It's just like, it makes no sense at all.
No. Okay. Well, I mean, I guess.
And even if you put it into a fantasy setting, you can get rid of Madrid and then put some fantasy city in there, and you can do some other things with. Maybe he's not golfing; he's doing something else. But it's like, first of all, would they consider supporting somebody eating people? I don't understand. And why is it that his fortunes improve because his golf caddy opens a zoo? What has that to do with anything? I don't get it.
See, my mind went through, well, he's opening, I don't, maybe it's another way of eating people. I don't know. That's the only reason he'd be happy, easier access to dinner, but I don't know.
Oh my god.
He could dress as a tiger, maybe.
Oh my god.
That's
pretty bad, right? But actually, speaking of the internet, I also came across a post on Reddit. Where it was a thread about really bad story ideas. So I was just looking through to see what there was there, and somebody posted something that in this thread about bad story ideas, where I was like, I would actually like to read this. I don't think it's a bad idea, but it said, what if it was a book about Middle Earth from Sauron's perspective?
Yeah.
Why would that be bad? I think that would be cool.
I think it would be really cool too. It's the unwritten viewpoint of the entire series. I think that'd be fantastic.
Yeah, I don't know why that was on a list of bad ideas. That sounds cool to me.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe he assumed since it hadn't been written it was a bad idea, or maybe he wanted someone to tell him that, no, it's actually a good idea, because that would be kind of cool.
Yeah. I also find 2 really weird book titles.
Oh,
You want to
really?
hear those as
Yes,
well?
definitely.
So the first one is Do-It-Yourself Coffins.
Has to be
Why
done, I
would you do
assume,
that?
before you need it.
I don't understand why you would do that. But that just made me laugh so bad. And then another one was, I also don't understand this one. It's called Knitting with Dog Hair.
Oh,
I'm just asking, why? Why would you do that?
I have actually seen a dog hair blanket, but I kind of agree. I was not tempted to wrap myself in it. It was one of those little artsy crafts things where at a main festival that I was like, oh, that's. I hope. Did you just sit there and you have a dog that sheds a lot, and this is what your solution? I don't know, but yeah, no, not for me.
Oh, no. I mean, some of this just made me laugh so
Oh,
bad.
that's good. Like I said, I think we all need to remember that writing, we take it serious. It doesn't have to be. We should remember that there are fun things. You can go and have some fun stories. Write a fun 500-word story and just be goofy and loose with it. Like I said, write the Jabberwocky, which is all just nonsensical fun words to say. And clickety-clack claws, and go ahead, do all those things that they tell you not to do with like alliteration, and why not? It's fun. Go sing song with your 5-year-old niece, and remember, language is just, it's not all about being serious all the time.
No, indeed. I mean, the main thing to take away from all of this is really that story ideas, they might sound dumb,
Yeah.
but if we do our job as authors really, really well, we can transform what sounds stupid into something magical, right? Something that will sweep the reader off their feet and carry them into another realm. So I think that's what we need to keep in mind, and that's really the takeaway from all of this. So I hope we at least made a few people laugh a bit. At least that was the intention. And also maybe we inspired a few ideas as well. I don't know.
That'd be great.
But let us know. So next Monday, we are going to share an alternative way to engage with your email list, one that Autumn came up with. So see you then.
If you like what you just heard, there's a few things you can do to support the AmWritingFantasy podcast. Please tell a fellow author about the show and visit us at Apple Podcast and leave a rating and review. You can also join Autumn and Jesper on patreon.com/AmWritingFantasy. For as little as $1 a month, you'll get awesome rewards and keep the AmWritingFantasy podcast going. Stay safe out there and see you next Monday.